Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Ireland once again, and this is a brewery who have been doing some really pretty good stuff recently. I think this is review number 4 that I've done from them so far. So for this one we're going to go back to County Wicklow, which is of course home to Whiplash Brewing Company, and this beer is called the Swoon. So it's a double IPA, it comes in 8% ABV, and the hops in this one are Chinook and Victoria's Secret. So it should be really good. I have had a pale ale, I think it was, or a regular IPA from these guys, but this is the first time I'm trying something a little bit heavier in that kind of light style category, if you like. So it should be a really interesting beer. I've enjoyed the ones I've had from Whiplash in the past, so it should be a pretty interesting one for us to review. So as always, I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one, and I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. So anyway, as is usual, like I say, I'll take you through a bit of a history of the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Whiplash before. No doubt there will be more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beers based on country, city, state, prefecture, county, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Irish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Whiplash then. So Whiplash is the main project of Alex Laws, who was the brewer at Rye River Brewing Company in Selbridge in County Kildare in Ireland. He basically called this brewery Whiplash as a jibe at how kind of fast the craft beer industry was moving, because you never really have time to kind of be up to date with what's going on. It's moving that fast. But the company is also co-owned by Alan Wolfe, who is the big boss at Rye River Brewing. So Alex was a home brewer and took part in various home brewing competitions across Ireland, winning a good amount of awards from what I gather as well. But he later decided to turn professional, and he worked for Brewtonic and also Otterbank Brewery as well. But he was later involved in setting up Rye River Brewing, which was apparently the first newly built microbrewery in Ireland for over 100 years. But he wanted to continue producing his own beers, and Rye River were very, very supportive of this, and many of the early Whiplash beers were actually produced at the Rye River Brewery. But Alex planned and brewed the beers, while Alan dealt with things like getting the cans in and getting the beers out there, basically. But as of late 2017, they produced around 15 different beers. I think they're maybe up to around 25 or 30 at the moment. They're producing lots of different things. I think they don't have a core range as such. I think they are basically just producing kind of things that they feel like. I think they're kind of doing what Cloudwater and stuff do, essentially. But Alex has also apparently left his position at Rye River now, and is focusing solely on Whiplash Brewing Company. It did say, I did notice on the can that it says this one is being produced at Larkin's Brewing Company rather than Rye River, so they've maybe moved somewhere else to kind of up their production volumes and stuff like that a little bit. But Whiplash are one of the real up-and-coming Irish breweries at the moment. It is really cool now to see that Irish craft beer is starting to get itself out there, because for a long time trying to find Irish craft beer was like gold dust. You know, you could not find it for love nor money. But it really is good to see that the breweries from both North and from the Republic of Ireland are doing some really good stuff. So have a go at them. There's a lot of different breweries out there, and the Irish craft beer scene is really starting to thrive now. But that's all you really need to know about Whiplash Brewing Company. If you want to read a little bit more, check out the brewery website in the description below. I'll put the Facebook page in down there for you as well, and you can keep up to date with all the latest goings on. So this is a brewery that you definitely want to watch over the next little while. But I'll just let you have a little closer look at the artwork of this one before we open up. There you can see the kind of usual mash-up sort of style artwork that you get from Whiplash. They always put some really random, interesting things on their beers. There you can see the kind of profile of the beer. So Maris Otter, wheat malt and oat malt with Chinook and Victoria's Secret. And it tells you a little bit on the side there, brewed at Larkin's Brewery in County Wicklow in Ireland. So yeah, 8% ABV double IPA, this one 3.5 UK units. It should be really nice. So yeah, without further ado, let's get it out then, and we'll get on with the tasting. Definitely looking forward to this one. If I can actually get the thing open. There we go. Oh, you can smell some of the pineapples and passion fruit coming out of this one. Victoria's Secret, of course, usually gives you a little bit of kind of pineapple passion fruit. It's a bit similar to the Galaxy hop from Australia in a way, I guess. Although Galaxy, I think, does give you a straight up, more of a straight up passion fruit. This one does have a little bit more kind of tropical fruit complexity to it rather than anything else. But look at that, nice bright yellow colour. This one, a solid half finger of a frothy, I would say cream coloured head on this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, and quite a few little ones just heading up towards the bottom of that head there. But overall, you know, the beer looks really nice. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see, not really transparent, this beer. It is pretty damn hazy, but it looks very, very nice. So let's take a closer look at the aroma then, and just see how we get on. Oh, that actually smells really, really nice. You can smell the malt base in this one's coming out really nicely, actually. So yeah, the oats and the wheat are coming out really nicely in this. You get a little bit of that kind of almost creamy flavour, or creamy aroma, sorry, from the oats. A little bit of the wheaty characters coming out. But the Maris Otter, it's giving you a little bit of this almost kind of biscuity sweetness to the beer. It does smell a little bit like digestive biscuits, or oaty digestive biscuits actually, oat cakes or something like that. The malt base in this one's coming out really, really nicely, so take a little bit of time and pay attention to that. But on the hoppy side of things, you can smell some of the slightly piney resins from Chinook. It does smell a little bit more kind of floral, if that makes sense, rather than piney, I would say, which is surprising for Chinook. Chinook is usually a big beast of a hop when it comes to these piney resins. And yeah, nice little bit of pineapple in there. Definitely pineapples and passion fruit coming out in abundance in this one. Maybe a little bit of a, I don't know if there's a wee touch of a lemony note to it, which is interesting, but yeah, a little bit of a kind of lemony quality to this beer. Some passion fruits, like I say, pineapple. It's almost got a little kind of touch of tangerine or something to it, which was quite interesting. But it does smell really, really nice and juicy, and the malt base, as I say, is coming out as quite sweet on this one. So as I always say, just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you actually try it. That's always half the experience when it comes to craft beer and whiskey and stuff like that. But we're going to get stuck into this one now. So this is the Swoon, a double IPA from Whiplash Brewing Company in County Wicklow in the Republic of Ireland. Let's get stuck into this one. Slàinte, skål. That is pretty nice, actually. It's interesting how everything kind of comes out in this beer. Actually, it hasn't quite got the flavours I was expecting. Everything just comes out in a completely different way. But I'll tell you right away with this one, it's pretty bloody good. I mean, the malt base is really smooth and it has that lovely little bit of sweetness to it. And the way the hops come out in the beer as well is really, really nice. It's interesting because the sort of Chinook flavours, those piney resins, I'm only getting those now. I mean, you've seen how long it was since I took a sip. It's only now that I'm starting to get some of those piney resins out of this beer. It's a really interesting one, this. You know, it's a lot lower in IBUs than I would have thought than I would have thought from this beer. You know, when you get a beer that has Chinook in it, you always think that's going to be a bit of a beast in terms of the bitterness. But with this one, it's really leaning towards that nice kind of juicy side of things. As I say, not what I expected at all, but really pretty nice. If you get the chance to try that, have a go at it, because it really is not what you would expect. So, in terms of the malt base of this one then, so you can feel that wheaty character, that just blankets the middle of your palate. Right in the middle of the tongue, you can pick up a little bit of that kind of oaty, kind of creamy flavour that comes out of this beer. There's a little bit of a kind of digestive biscuit note in there as well, a little bit of that kind of sweetness. And as the beer kind of progresses further and further into the aftertaste, you start to get a little bit of the, you really start to get a little bit of the kind of graininess pushing its way out of the beer, which is kind of interesting. On the hoppy side of things, back corners of the palate, there's a little touch of earthiness there, and as you come further forward along the sides of the tongue, the earthiness does spread forward a little bit, but that's when you really start to get these nice kind of floral aromatic notes out of the beer. And as I was saying earlier, as that beer as the flavour progresses on, that's when you start to get some of those big piney resins that you expect of the Chinook, but round the very front curve of the palate, it's just a little bit lighter and grassy, I would say. But yeah, It's really nice. As you can probably hear from the kids outside, we've got quite a nice day, but I always need to put the shade down, otherwise it messes with the camera. It's a little bit annoying, but that's just what you have to do. But this beer, definitely going to go outside and enjoy the rest of this after the video. It's really good. So yeah, as I say, a little bit lighter grassy quality around the front curve of your tongue there, just behind the front curve of the palate. That's where you get that little oily bubble that I always talk about, where you get these nice kind of juicy fruits. You've seen how long it was since I took a sip again. At this point, it's the grapefruit that's starting to settle in there. It seems to be like, it's almost like a delayed reaction. It's like you're starting off with the kind of tropical, the juicy tropical fruits from the Victoria's Secret, and then later on in the flavour, the Chinook is just pushing its way out. So with this one now, I'm getting that kind of dark grapefruity note that you expect of the Chinook. But earlier on, when you take a sip of this beer, yeah, earlier on when you take a sip of this beer, it's passion fruit, and then it just kind of morphs a little bit into a kind of pineapple flavour, which is really interesting. I've never had a beer that's really quite done that. It's gone from one hop and it just gradually transitions to the other over the kind of period of the flavour, which is, it's really interesting. It's really unusual, but it does it does work for it. It's a really interesting IPA, this one. I mean, I think I was saying in one of my other videos, there's so many of these hazy IPAs around just now, and it's almost at the point where you know, as a reviewer, you do want to review something that's a little bit different. This one is different, so that's one of the great things. That's what you always want as a kind of beer tuber. You do want beers that are going to test your palate and be a little bit different. So I'll give Whiplash Brewing a thumbs up for that one. They're always producing quality stuff, of course, and I do like the way that they've produced this one. It's really interesting. It'd be interesting to see them take this recipe and try it with different hops. I think this would work really well with the likes of some of the Styrian Wolf from Slovenia, of course. If they can take this, if they can replicate this beer and just change the Victoria's Secret for Styrian Wolf and get the lovely melon flavours, that would be really interesting. But there's a whole host of the New Zealand hops as well that have that kind of juicy quality about them that you could do that with. But it's a really, I do like how this beer just makes that transition from the juicy fruity side of things to the darker kind of hoppy bitterness that you expect of the Chinook. So as I say, thumbs up to Whiplash for this one. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say mid-bodied, definitely. Carbonation is quite soft on this one. It's got quite an oily mouthfeel, this beer. I would say that about it. This one does have a little bit more of an oily mouthfeel. It's not got that big smoothness that you expect from the kind of New England IPAs, if that makes sense. This one is a little bit more oily. I've said about carbonation. Hoppy bitterness to this one, as I say, it's really interesting. It starts off juicy and fruity, and then it transitions a little bit more to have a bigger kind of hoppy bitterness. Nice juicy fruits in this beer, and then the malt base has some kind of, it has a nice little bit of sweetness to it, but mainly it's quite smooth and you get a little bit of creaminess from the oats as well. But overall, like I say, this one's a really interesting beer. I recommend that you have a go at it and see what you think for yourself. I found that this one's got a really interesting transition in the flavour, so have a go at it for yourself and see what you think. It's really well done. You wouldn't expect anything else from Whiplash, and I think there's good signs ahead, or good times ahead I should say, for the Irish craft beer scene. There's some really good beers starting to come out. So yeah, once again, let's leave it at that. Thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Check out my social media. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Whiplash as well. This has been review number 4. I'm sure I'll return to them in the fairly near future, but this was the Swoon, a double IPA. Some really nice kind of tropical fruity notes in this, and then it starts to push on a little bit later to have a really kind of interesting big hoppy bitter component to it. So yeah, enjoy this beer and just see how you get on with it. But thank you once again for watching, and I will catch you guys very soon. The Swoon double IPA from Whiplash Brewing Company in County Wicklow, sorry, in the Republic of Ireland. Stand just now, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Cheers.